Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters, and good evening. You're listening to Let's Talk, our weekly current affairs show with me, Hamid Chowdhury, and my co-host Aqil Halil.
Assalamu alaikum.
It's the show's brought to you by Salaam Radio 106.2 FM and Inspire FM in Luton. Assalamu alaikum. You can listen to us online at salamradio.co.uk or watch the show live on our streaming services. Search for Salaam Radio on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter. If you prefer mobile, please download and use our Salaam Radio app from App Store or Google Play. Salaam Radio is always on air 24/7, 365, uniting all communities. Please do get involved in any of the conversations we're having today. We'd love to have your opinions. Call us on 01733602133. That's 01733602133. Or you can always text or WhatsApp us on the same number, 07745278978. Today, brothers and sisters, we'll be talking about while the security services focus has been almost entirely on Islamist terrorism, the far right have been provided with an opportunity, motivation and a cause to grow in their hate and terror and cause a threat to the UK. And the second topic will be with the gross human rights violations committed by Saudi Arabia in Yemen, headed by Mohammed bin Salman. Has Britain lost its moral compass and its voice, turning London into Riyadh as it welcomes MBS to fight for the scraps from the King's table? Is UK becoming the United Kingdom of Saudi Arabia? Assalamu alaikum, Akil.
Walaikum salam. I'm good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, it's great to be
He's
back.
He's back.
I am back. Yeah, it's great to be back.
Alhamdulillah, it's nice to see you,
But
bro.
you've kept the seat nice and warm for a while I've been away.
Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah, no, it's been good, man.
Change. You know, I tried so hard to get rid of you. I really did.
Tried.
I tried. But he's back.
I am
He's
back.
back on the airways, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. How have you been anyway? I've listened to the show while I've been away, I've got to admit, and it's been very good.
Thank you. I've had some great company. I've had Brother Imtiaz, special shout out to him, and Brother Ahmed, who's helped out, and it's been great. You were missed, to be fair.
Naturally.
For a little while. I think it was in the ad break, mostly.
Really?
But no, it's been good, obviously, and we've got a great show, hopefully, inshallah, packed for our listeners this evening as well. But it is genuinely nice to see you.
No, honestly, it is nice to be. I have missed it. I mean, the Fridays have been a bit empty. I mean, although I've been traveling, so I used to get back midnight on Friday, so it would have been impossible for me to do the show anyway. But I have sort of thought about you guys while I've been at the airport. But you've had an interesting week.
I have had an incredible week, actually, to be fair.
You've been seeing some interesting stuff.
I have, yeah. I went to the Security and Terrorism Expo in Olympia this week, and I got to see some fascinating new technology that's coming out.
Right.
And also some things which have been improved. One of the themes was people monitoring. And I don't want to scare our listeners, but I mean,
well, we will after we covered our first topic.
This is
or even
true.
our second topic to an
but
extent.
You know, suffice to say, you know, there's big changes happening in the industry, and you know, the other thing I'd mention it when I had Brother Imtiaz on the show as well. 2017, as you can probably recall, was the year of the vehicle. Wow, that was such
a long time ago, though.
I know. We did multiple shows about vehicle-bound terrorist attacks.
Right.
And some of the technology that I saw at the show, you know, it really made me think, you know, the next person who tries to do something like that, and the technology that I saw with types of bollards or types of things that can prevent or barriers and things, you know what? Whoever's going to be hell-bent on thinking he's going to do whatever he's going to do, he is going to be wiped out.
Yeah. But I guess, I mean, and it's a great segue into the topic we're going to talk about. But on that, I guess that protects certain key installments, I suppose, in the UK, but it doesn't protect the people.
No.
So that needs to be a social shift for that. Right?
Yes, that's right. But what I will say, I have seen, especially as you know, I travel around the UK a lot. I have seen not just critical infrastructure, but certainly public spaces where a lot of this technology is starting to be deployed.
Right.
If you think the next time you're going to be in a shopping centre or in a communal area where you have businesses and so on and so forth, you will now see literally bollards everywhere.
Yeah.
And they might be, but they won't be like your traditional ones. You know, you will see like, you know, chrome and different metals and things like that used as a casing on top. But it's all designed to protect a vehicle-bound terrorist attack.
Yeah. I mean, you know, sometimes, I mean, it's a necessary evil.
It is,
right?
yeah.
Because, you know, you feel that there is a need for it because of the threat that UK faces and people face. But you just can't help, I mean, I can't help thinking that, you know, we're so far from the libertarian ideas, the ideas of freedom, the ideas that people should be able to kind of, you know, express their views in safety and comfort, or actually, sorry, to live in safety and comfort without having this intrusion.
Yeah.
And we're kind of constantly faced with these, I mean, 300, 400 photographs a day are taken of us as we walk around the streets, unbeknown to us.
Or what cars we drive, whatever it is, absolutely everything.
I mean,
we do.
you were mentioning that there are cars blacked out windows and that can take a photograph. A camera
that's right.
within that can take a photograph.
Or a completely blacked out car, and you can have clear images of people, which can then be run through a database.
Yeah.
So we do. It is, but you know, it's like you said. And unfortunately, we live in a time where the narrative for living in a free, open society is no longer with the liberals.
Yeah,
it's unfortunately now
it's an oxymoron now, isn't it? I mean, free and open, you know, and then you have this kind of complete intrusion into our privacy. I mean, are we really a free and open society anymore? There may have been one time we were free and open, but to a large extent, I don't think we are free and open.
I think we are to a degree. However, we are certainly more monitored than we've ever been. Now, whether that's being monitored in your private residence, whether that's in a public space, whether that's while you're driving your car, whether that's when you walk into an airport, going to collect your luggage, you know, so on and so forth. Every aspect is monitored by something or someone now.
Yeah. And I guess it's a lot easier to do, and because of the big data, because storage is almost cheap, next to nothing now, and this stuff can be stored for years.
Correct.
And artificial intelligence, cognitive services can work on top of this stuff to come up with all sorts of patterns, which, you know, I don't know, can determine all sorts of things about people.
Correct. Incidentally, I'm glad you mentioned that. I know this isn't part of the show, but I think it's important. I think it's important to note that Google has. It's only actually an article that surfaced this week. You know, the AI. They've actually licensed it to the Department of Defense in America, and now that AI is being used by drones to identify targets. Although Google is saying it's for non-offense work, and employees inside Google are saying, hold on a minute, we didn't sign up to this. We are not creating a program to be used in a defense format.
Exactly. I'm sure when they were initially creating the AI technology, it was, we will never ever sell it to the military.
That's right. That's what actually happened.
Now it's for non-defense.
Correct.
I mean, it's only a small step away from saying, well, actually, you know what? You know, there are nasty people out there. Let's use it, you know, without bringing them to trial.
That's right. I mean, Google bought 3 or 4 companies who were doing robotics and so on and so forth, and they deliberately took them off American Department of Defense programs because they didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
But what they're saying is, the idea here is that the AI will work twice, even thrice faster than a human being.
Yes.
And while it will go through this, you know, this behemoth of data, which the American Defense Forces have actually collated, they will let the AI run through that to try and identify objects and human beings or persons of interest.
So do you think Elon Musk is right when he says that the biggest threat to humanity is artificial intelligence?
Certainly looking that way, isn't it?
that's I mean, all these movies that we watched growing up,
well
it's becoming a reality.
But did you see this week also?
Let's not get too excited.
I know, but I have to say this. I know we're going to get on to that topic. But I have to say this: the Amazon Echo has a fault which has been reported that Amazon are currently investigating, which it has randomly been playing an evil laugh. So you're at home, mind your own business, and out of nowhere, the Amazon Echo has been playing an evil laugh.
Really? I've never heard it.
Oh, well, maybe you should switch yours on.
No, I tell you what. I tell you what I have noticed with the Amazon Echo. I've had it for probably over a year, maybe even longer. Is that every now and again it just randomly says something.
Well,
and you think, hang on a second, who's called you? Who's woken you up?
Wow.
You know, you just wonder. Anyway, I mean, great to have a conversation with you, Akil, as always, and you know, about technology as well. I mean, it's a very exciting topic, but I think, you know, from your sort of trips to look at all this other technology which is designed to protect us, I think it's important to go onto the topic, and that's about what Mark Rowley, and this comes off the back of his interview recently, and he's the Assistant Commissioner of the Met Police, retiring next month, so he's probably got a lot of leverage to say what he wants to say.
Certainly now, yes.
but certainly he's come out and said that in the last year they stopped 4 right-wing terror plots.
Correct.
Yeah, so this is a huge thing, and then he's also said that we've never reported it before. Yeah, so we're reporting it now. We haven't publicized it before. We've been entirely focused on quote unquote Islamist plots, but that's quite a and he says that it's an organized and significant threat to the UK.
Yeah,
that's quite a statement.
Absolutely, and also when you see his statement, I read through the whole article as well, and did a bit more research on what he was saying. There was something that really piqued my interest, and obviously, as you know, I'm an avid Twitterati. There's something I have to say when I look at some of the ugly amount of information that's being transferred amongst different users. I use the term ugly because it's very, very sobering to see that a fellow British person could even think about that of their neighbour.
Yes.
Right, and they're saying derogatory things about not just Muslims, but we are obviously going to focus on Muslims at this stage, but it's also about race, it's all about Brexit and so on and so forth. But there's something in there. He said that it creates intolerance, exploits grievances, those that already exist and new ones, but it was this one that they generate distrust of state institutions.
Yes.
And you see that where you see it when they call every single thing fake news.
Yes.
So as soon as a public body, someone who's done some research, someone who's interviewed people, someone's gathered data, as soon as that doesn't fit the narrative that they're trying to portray, it's fake news.
Yep.
And that is a distrust of state institutions.
Yeah. I mean, that's coming from the kingpin himself, isn't it? I mean, that's coming down from the Trump, the leader of the, quote-unquote, the leader of the free world. It's coming down from that. So people are just, and these kind of far-right extremists are just latching onto that narrative and saying, well, actually, you know what, and I mean, this is, it's not even the United States, it's the UK as well. During the Brexit debates, it was, what's that dude's name? I've forgotten his name because I don't.
Nigel Farage?
No, not Nigel Farage. Gove.
Okay, Michael Gove.
Michael Gove. I don't.
That dude.
I try not to remember his name. I don't really like him very much. But he's the one who sort of said, we're sick of experts. Because it doesn't, as you said, it doesn't fit the narrative that they're advocating. So it's easy to just say, well, actually, you know what? It's all fake news, and you experts don't know what you're talking about, and we know better. But you may have spent all your life studying this kind of these statistics and these reports and come up with really groundbreaking views and thoughts and ideas. We've never done any of that, but we don't trust you because we're better than you.
And this is the problem. Arrogant? As soon as you have somebody who is in a, in the government, has a post in the government or has any media attention of some description, if that person comes out and immediately tries to discredit a prominent expert of something, people will think, oh, well, if Michael Gove, who is highly intelligent and has got all this job, blah blah. And I'm just saying, right? They will think, oh, maybe he's right, because we also don't agree with that what that guy said. I mean, you think about when Cheddar Man came out, when the Cheddar Man story came out while you weren't here, right?
Yes.
Do you know what happened? The far right said, no, this is mainstream media trying to delete our ancestry.
Yeah.
Yet that was researched, it is verified data, and it just thinking, how can you possibly say this? But they do, because it just doesn't fit the narrative.
Yeah. I mean, what's interesting in this, what Mark Rowley is saying, and I think it's a very interesting interview he gave, is that MI5 is now involved in, MI5 is primarily responsible to safeguard our national borders, and also internal within the UK, and also to provide security at home, and and to deal with terrorism, etc., etc. And they predominantly have been focusing on the Islamist terrorist threat, but now they are, since last year, they are looking at and fighting against the right-wing terrorist threat. So that's how high profile this is, and that's scary. I mean, I don't know. I was reading about it, and you know, I can't say I wasn't concerned, you know, that somebody down the road could turn around and do something ridiculous, you know.
It's definitely it's worrying. But I agree with you. When you do the research and somebody sends you an article or you see a tweet or something like that, that's the time we become aware of it. But then I use the mantra, which is life must go on, and we must carry on as we do. We can't allow terrorism to beat us.
Yeah.
Well, and I flip this because as Muslims, when we see far right extremism, that's how we feel it from that core, saying, well, you know, Muslims are this X, Y, and Z, and or to do all these bad things. We've got that to deal with, and by the same token, we also have to deal with these guys who are plotting Islamist plots as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I always say, and I know our listeners will agree, a bomb, a person driving a van trying to kill people, all these things, they're indiscriminate. They don't care. They just want to kill people.
No.
But the difference here is these people are targeting just Muslims. And the reason why, listeners, we're talking about this is because the leaders of the far-right extremist group, Britain First, have been jailed for anti-Muslim hate crimes after targeting people they incorrectly believe were involved in an ongoing rape trial. Now, but here we're talking about Paul Golding and Jada Franson. Both were convicted on several counts of religiously aggravated harassment following their trial in Folkestone. The magistrate did say that their actions could have caused the rapist to walk free. But what I think is important is before we get into nitty-gritty of what they did, there's something I have to say. I have never seen, to this date, in all the time I've lived in this country, anybody else who has been or is on trial or convicted of a sexual crime where anybody other than this group has started and knocking on their doors trying some sort of vigilante justice.
Yeah.
It just happens to be that in this case, and I quote Judge Justin Barron, who said, and I quote, demonstrated his hostility towards Muslims and Islam, adding, I have no doubt it was their joint intention to use the facts for this case for their own political ends. So these guys, there's 3 guys who are on trial for a rape case. Britain First have decided what we're going to do is, well, we're going to go out there and we're going to make a scene about this. So they've gone on there, they've gone to these people's houses, wherever it may be, they've knocked on the doors, then they've filmed themselves while they're doing it, and they're spewing this racist bile towards the people in the houses who don't happen to be the defendants.
Yeah, absolutely. Clearly, they've got their facts wrong there. I mean, you know, I think I want to get on to that, but initially I want to kind of stick to this theme, because I think there was something interesting that was in that article, and for the listeners, if you want to get involved in this conversation, please do call us on 01733602133. We'd love to have your views on this matter. So, you know, what Mark Rowley was saying was that a lot of this stuff is these people being groomed effectively. I mean, didn't use those words, but you know, online through reading extremist material. Now, to a large extent, when somebody says that, you know, people in Britain at least have been so well indoctrinated by the media, I guess, to a large extent, and that you know, immediately when somebody says that, they think, oh, it's Muslims, quote unquote, being indoctrinated to do extreme terrorist actions. And Raymond Bennett, he says that, you know, he talks about how this far right extremism. He's from the United Against Fascism, that it poses a hidden danger, and we underestimate the threat to our communities. But he goes on to say that there must be a active commitment to stopping the scapegoating of Muslims that encourages it. You know, so the way the media almost exclusively targets Muslims in negative terms. Every day there's a negative story about Muslims. There's been a lot of university studies that show that negative stories always come on the front page. Positive stories rarely make the newspapers. If they do, they sort of hidden way further back. And if there's an apology, it's hidden way further back. But you know, the media to a large extent has had an open reign on undermining Muslims every step of the way. And as people are fed this diet of anti-Muslim bigotry, their views are kind of formulated. And it's interesting how he's talking about the fact that people in Britain, young people in Britain, can fall prey to this kind of extremist material. Yet in the media, we're constantly having this anti-Muslim bias, this kind of xenophobic attitude towards Muslims by the papers. And it's interesting that William Bennett, he talks about how scapegoating Muslims in this way actually encourages people, and because it's constant that they're being fed that they then act accordingly as they're being advocated to do so.
Yeah, and I can't recall the area. To add to that, there was a student not so long. I think he's been convicted very recently, actually, and again, by this form of information that he's got online and from the media and so on and so forth, he got into his car and he drove it, and he drove into a Muslim woman and the child.
Yes, yeah.
And one of the reasons for that was because
he drove backwards and forward, didn't he? He drove a couple of times.
Exactly. Yeah. He was hell-bent on killing Muslims. And because, again, they are being fed this data.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever it may be. And they're consuming it in a way, so, well, we need to do something. We need to retaliate.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And then if you see videos of groups like this who are going out there, film them saying, right, this is how you do it. So then the common man is thinking, or Joe Bloggs is thinking, well, I can do this. I mean, all they've done is knocked on a door and then suddenly the door's open, so I can take revenge myself.
Yeah. I mean, it's not. I mean, we're nowhere near trying to condone it in any way.
Yeah, that's right.
But we're trying to understand the what leads somebody who's probably got friends of different color, different faiths at school, probably had them growing up, maybe even their best friends, and then they get to a certain age where they're constantly fed this negative attitude towards a particular group of people, and the outcome is as we see, far right violent extremism is on the rise, and it's a great concern. According to Nick Lowe's of Hope Not Hate, 27 people arrested and convicted of right wing inspired offences in 2017 alone.
That's right. And to that end as well, we also have a situation where, unfortunately, a lot of people are, just standing by. Just think, well, it's not me, so I'm not going to get involved. There's not enough people saying it's wrong.
Yeah. Do you think that's because a lot of people are sitting on the fence because they're having this constant diet of negative Muslim attitude,
and
so that they are, so in a sense it's justifying that actions. And I've said this many times on the show, and we've said this many times on the show, that anti-Semitism or hatred towards the Jews in Nazi Germany didn't come overnight.
That's right.
It was this kind of slow process of indoctrinating people's minds, demonizing a community, a group of people for a certain group's political needs, which ultimately ended up with people completely justifying in their heads that it's okay to gas people and kill them and so on and so forth, because they're not humans, they're not like us, they're not white, blue eyes, whatever, and I fear that and all these things are kind of leading you to believe that we are unfortunately we're sort of we've forgotten the idea of lest we forget, and we're kind of just head walking in that direction.
We are and unfortunately some of the comments the judge did make in this case, I mean, he says that he said it was a campaign to draw attention to the race, religion and immigrant background of the defendants. I mean, this, when you look at it like that, it's the only reason why. So they forgot about the crime.
Yes.
This wasn't about the crime anymore. This was, right, who did this? Right, okay, what are they? What do they believe in? Okay, that's enough for me. So
exactly.
Because they're in that group, we need to take action.
Yeah.
And this is what I was trying to say before. When have you known this ever to happen before?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think these guys, Paul Golding and Jada Fence, I think they're very kind of, they're trying to popularize themselves.
That's right.
They've got a cause which has been fueled largely by the media's kind of sport of it. In a sense that in their mind at least it's supported, and they feel like they can. It's justified for them to do what they do.
And then they had the validation from Trump.
The fact that the validation from Trump, obviously with the tweet, and the fact that Paul Golding's got 18 weeks and Jada Fenton's got 36 weeks. I don't know whether the imprisoned sentence or the sentence fits the crime here. Really,
I don't think so. I think
it's
they've
a
got
very
way
low
too lightly,
sentence, and I'm not sure sure. I'm not. I mean, I don't know. We can only sort of do a thought experiment. If these were Muslims, quote unquote, they would definitely been convicted before they got to the court,
without a doubt.
And the sentence probably would have been a much longer.
I agree with you. Are we heading towards another one?
We are, yeah, in about 40 seconds.
Okay, so Jaswat Narwal from the CPS said this prosecution case demonstrated these defendants were not merely exercising their right to free speech, but were instead aiming religiously aggravated abuse at innocent members of the public. And I'm sorry, it's unacceptable.
Yeah.
It's unacceptable to do a thing like that, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm glad this conviction needed to happen.
It needed to happen.
Because people need to understand we live by the rule of law here.
Exactly. And everyone's the same, irrespective.
That's right.
So, Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much, brothers and sisters, for listening. We're just going to head to a break. So we've been talking about how the far-right terror threat is organised as a significant threat to the UK. So please don't go away. Do come back. Assalamu alaikum.
Stay tuned to Salaam Radio after this short ad break.
Sadly, millions of orphans living in the poorest countries lack the necessary support for a healthy childhood. These children have to endure lives of hardship without the basic necessities that would help them to grow, to learn, to live. Let's show them that we do care. Let's brighten up their future. Call 0161 225 0225 or visit humanappeal.org.uk.
Need a great place to chill out? Look no further than The Lounge for quality food and drinks at a great price. Try our varied menu: pasta, seafood, burgers, grills, salad, soup, rice and sides. Also hot and cold drinks, milkshakes and mocktails. Leave room for our exquisite desserts. The Lounge, 417 Lincoln Road, Peterborough. Call 01733 709 306 to order for delivery. The Lounge, friendly service with a great atmosphere.
Need car parts quickly and at a great price? City Auto Parts offer competitive prices, trade accounts and a delivery service in and around Peterborough. For all your parts and accessories requirements, visit City Auto Parts, 30 Fitzwilliam Street, Peterborough, PE1 2RX. Call us on 01733 347711 or visit www.cityautoparts.co.uk.
Are you looking for a fun-loving and professional nursery? Then call Bright Bambini Montessori on Peterborough 306565. Teaching EYFS curriculum and Ofsted approved. We also offer Forest School and Arabic. Limited free funded places available. Call 01733 306565 or email info@bbmc.uk. Bright Bambini Montessori.
Who is responsible for raising our children? Lecture and presentation by guest speaker Yusuf Patel, founder of SRE Islamic, London. What are your children being taught in school? Can parents opt out of relationship education? What are your legal rights? How do you build a relationship with your child's school and find out what they are learning? Come along and find out the answers to all of these questions and more at this informative talk. Free event, Sunday the 11th of March from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Masjid Khadija, 311 Cromwell Road, Peterborough, PE1 2HP. Don't miss out on this rare opportunity. For further details, please visit the Salaam Radio Facebook page.
Gems and jewels. Wise sayings, interesting events, and moral lessons from Islamic history. The first university.
The first university in the world was the University of Qarawiyyin in the city of Fas in Morocco, which was ordered to be built by Muhammad ibn Abdullah al-Fihri al-Qirawani. Fatima and Maryam, his two daughters, made sure it was built as per their father's request. It was completed in 859 Hijra and was originally a mosque for prayer, as well as an institution for knowledge and Islamic jurisprudence.
Broadcasting 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. This is Salaam.
Assalamu alaikum, Moses. I love doing that. That's a great intro, right?
You always better at me than that. I never do it on the second bit.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like the intro. Anyway, Jazakallah for coming back. Early on in the show, we were talking about the threat, the rising threat of the far right terrorism in the UK, and in this part of the show, and there's no correlation between the two.
Nope.
We're talking about with the gross human rights violations committed by Saudi Arabia in Yemen. Headed by Mohammed bin Salman, he's the key architect of this. Has Britain lost its moral compass and its voice, turning London into Riyadh as it welcomes MBS to fight for scraps at the King's table? Is the UK becoming the United Kingdom of Saudi Arabia?
Great.
What do you think, brother?
Well, I tell you what, I like I mentioned to you the day
MBS in the UK.
MBS first of all, Habibi. Habibi's in the UK. I was in Shepherd's
You're in a small group of people.
Hey, I definitely am not.
That. Yeah.
Listen to me. I was in Shepherd's Bush
right
on Tuesday, and as I was going through Shepherd's Bush, you have those really large digital advertising boards.
Oh yes.
So I'm driving through, and I can see Mohammed bin Salman's face.
Okay.
So this is the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, and it said how he's modernizing the country and so on and so forth. And then it switched over, and you had an image of half the image of a Saudi Arabian flag next to a British flag. Okay. And it said United Kingdoms.
Okay.
And I'm driving through and I was thinking, wow, I've never seen this before.
Yeah.
A crown prince, the heir to the throne, in the United Kingdom, for any other country, I've never ever seen a digital advert or information about his visit before ever. He's having a state visit, except a few of the perks. Other than that, it's a state visit. He's met the Queen. Right. He's been with Theresa May. He's met all of our treasuries. He's doing all these deals and so on and so forth.
So you mean he's got a state visit before
Donald Trump? Oh, Trump yes, he has. Yeah. See, the difference between him and Donald Trump is plainly obvious. Is Saudi Arabia's got a lot of money.
Yes.
And money buys you influence. And what I will say in the outset is, although I know we're going to talk about Yemen, there can be no denying in any way, shape or form, since Mohammed bin Salman has been in post, probably before he was given the current role that he was in, he was already trying to reform elements of Saudi Arabia. And since he's been in the current post that he's in, obviously he's the chief architect for women being able to drive, women going to football stadiums, cinemas being open, Vision 2030 or 50, whatever it's called. 2030, there you go. I think a man who's been in the Middle East recently. Habibi is doing a great job in that point. Okay, however,
there's so much romance.
Wait. Let me just put a caveat in there. However, this is great. Okay, from our point of view...
Don't worry, I'm sure he's not going to revoke your visa to Saudi Arabia.
Wait, from a young Saudi's point of view, this is great. They're going to see changes and so on and so forth. They're going to see Saudi Arabia, in many, many people's views, coming out of the Middle Ages and accepting reforms and not depending on oil so much and diversing their portfolio of services and so on and so forth. But the elephant in the room, which cannot be denied, is Yemen.
Yes.
MBS is the chief architect of a failed war which has killed thousands of civilians and is continuing to kill thousands of civilians. So on one side you do have, and I challenge anyone to come on the radio right now to say he isn't trying to reform elements of Saudi Arabia. He is, but you cannot get away from one side where he's trying to change the establishment, when he imprisoned all those some of the wealthiest men in the world in the Ritz-Carlton and got money back from them. But what about those poor, innocent civilians in Yemen? Millions of people who have, at certain levels, forget just the bombing, the bombs they're buying from the British government and then dropping them on the Houthis and all this campaign they're doing, but they're using food. food as a way to control what's going on.
Yeah.
It's disgusting, despicable.
Okay. Yeah. So
there's no bromance. I'm looking at the facts here.
Well, okay, fair enough.
There's no bromance.
Let's just put this in context for the listeners. So MBS Mohammed bin Salman, he's just ended his 3-day visit, which started on Wednesday, to the UK. There was a massive PR advertising blitz. Now, that was done by an independent company, so all these posters that you saw were not funded or paid for by the taxpayer,
which is nice,
which is good to know.
Thank you.
So it was, so just preceding his visit, there's a company that put out this idea, but he's been met with a mixed bag of response, right? So there's been kind of angry protests. I mean, when he arrived, angry protests, especially on Yemen, and just to kind of put Yemen in context, according to UNICEF, at least 110,000 children have died from preventable causes brought about during the 2-year war in Yemen, and this is not 11 million children are dependent on humanitarian aid, which is greater than the population of Belgium. Just put it in context.
Exactly.
In the war that he started. So that is, you're right, that is the elephant in the room. And Britain has capitalized. Britain has sold arms to Saudi Arabia at the tune of 8.3 billion since 2015 that have been used directly in attacks and killing of civilians in Yemen. So Britain has kind of aided this war effort by Saudi Arabia. Now, it's interesting that 48 Typhoon. So while he's been here, he signed this. I mean, there's $100 billion worth of deals that have been signed. $10 billion, 10 billion pounds on purchasing 48 Typhoon fighters, of which a cabinet minister said that this will increase security in the Middle East. Now, I'm not sure if that cabinet minister has been in the Middle East or even he's been in Yemen, but I'm not sure if there's much security going on in and around Yemen at the time.
Yemen, a country,
or even any other part of that world.
I agree with you. Yemen is a country which is at the south border of Saudi Arabia, and there's not much left of Yemen.
No,
to be honest with you.
So let's put Yemen to one side. So we've
now before you do, there is an element we need to add. This broke today. And it's been labelled a national disgrace. There's been fury over £100 million aid deal between the UK and Saudi Arabia. And for the benefit of our listeners, Britain has signed a deal with the Gulf state of £100 million to coincide. It actually coincided with the visit. Now, it's been described as a new deal for a long-term partnership to improve livelihoods and boost economic development in some of the world's poorest countries. This is absolutely shocking. So, in one hand, we're going to give you the Typhoon jets.
Yes.
But the other hand, we're going to sign a deal with you, an aid deal, so we can go around saying, oh, look, but hold on a minute, we're going to give you this aid.
Yeah.
We're going to kill you from the west, but we'll kill you and we'll feed you from the east.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It just defies logic.
Part of the process of sort of controlling a region. But, I mean, MBS, okay, so he's a young crown prince. He's 32 years old. He's got a lot of responsibility and a lot of power given to him by his ailing dad, who's 82 or something along those lines. So he's going to be the longest reigning king once his father passes away. Do you think he's immature in his actions? I mean, what do we have? We have a war in Yemen, which he started, as a defense minister, which is going nowhere and has caused chaos and is a humanitarian disaster, which Corbyn reprimanded May, saying that they are colluding in the war crimes by selling arms to Riyadh. So there's that. There's his actions on Qatar by sealing off the border and really as a GCC family member, completely cutting them off. His actions at almost imprisoning a Lebanese prime minister.
Yeah.
His actions of having this anti-corruption campaign, which he launched in 4th of November, which people actually refer to as a power grab day, where he arrested 159 business leaders, including princes, and then said that he will release them after they paid a huge amount or a huge sum of money. So, and the list just goes on and on and on. There's a shrinking economy. Yeah, the economy shrank, $52 billion worth of deficit, of which they're gonna borrow $31 billion this year to bridge the gap. They wanted to sell a share of Aramco oil, which they've never done before, to raise $100 billion, which they are gonna do next. So what is happening? I mean, tell me, Aki, what is happening? He's under his watch in a very short space of time. Within 2 years, I mean, this disaster struck in Saudi Arabia, and Britain is great. We're making a lot of money out of it.
But we're not the only ones.
We're not the only ones.
Don't forget, Trump went there and he made a lot of money as well. What I will say is, I think.
So is this the Vision 2030 modernizing the country bit? I'm just wondering.
Okay, but first of all, I think the Yemen war is a failed war from a Saudi point of view.
I think from maybe certainly from the Yemeni point of view is probably
I'm just saying I'm just looking at this from MBS point of view, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's failed because he hasn't been able to get to the end goal probably as quickly as he thought he would.
Right.
So
what was the end goal, by the way?
Wipe out the Houthis or kill everybody.
Wow, I mean, has that ever been done?
No, but what I'm saying is basically kill all the terrorists, right? And then it'll be easy. We'll just bomb them and then we'll move on.
Who's the terrorist, though?
And what we'll do is we'll defend the incumbent government because he's on our side, but everybody else who's against him will wipe him out. But guess what? It hasn't happened. So they've doubled down by.
So actually, before that war started, they had the parties had come together, and there was a growing alliance between all the parties, and there was relative democracy was just taking shape, and there was kind of peace. That peace can be said in that region. So this is before the bombing started.
Yes. What I'm saying is, Yemen hasn't worked. They've doubled down, buying more ammunition, essentially trying to flatten the whole country. It's not working. So I think while that's not happening, he's thinking, well, all right, that's going to take care of itself. Let me get my teeth in someone else. So he seems like a chap who he wants to have a lot on his plate. Now, this is my view. I think
he's just getting bored. He started the war in Yemen, got bored with it. Well, let's go to Qatar.
Let's see what the Qataris are doing.
Yeah.
Why have they got the World Cup? Okay, why are they doing this? Why have they got Harrods? Why have they got this? Why have they bought PSG? All these sort of things. But then hold on, they see for a tiny country, how come they're so powerful?
Yeah.
Why are they making so much money from gas and we're here trying to borrow money? They've got money, they don't even borrow any money. So that's going on. At the same time, then he's looking internally, thinking, all right, so if we're not making money this way, who's been making money in the last 50 years?
Oh, is that
looks
why
around
he's
him,
jazz concert?
and so then he's brought all those other guys in. I just think the guy is getting teeth into everything all at the same time.
Yeah,
trying to anyway, and trying to win. In a way, he's a bit like Trump in terms of I want to win. I want it to be easy, and I want it to be big, so people know it's me.
Look,
that's from the outside. However, what I will say, and I think it's really, really important as well, he seems to be the only person who also, out of all these princes, he goes out and about in Saudi Arabia. He meets the public, selfies with them. He's like a celebrity. So he's selling himself internally as the reformer. Then he's given, although many people will say token reforms, but internationally he has made some woeful mistakes. I just can't get over what's happening. I just think he's.
I want to give credit to the guy.
You do,
but I can't find where to give him credit for, or what to give him credit for. Okay, so
because he's doing too much.
He's allowed women to drive. Great,
and go football stadiums,
and allow them to go to football stadiums
and go have cinemas,
and join the army,
join the army.
Now, interestingly, I read somewhere, I think the highest ranking woman official in Saudi government said that because of the rising cost of living, you have to have two salaries. So women have to go out and work. So I think a lot of this stuff, a lot of these reforms have been brought about not because and this is my own view, so it's not through some analysis or anything like that, have been brought about not necessarily because Mohammed bin Salman himself feels that reforms should be, and maybe he does, but there's a lot of pressure internally with disgruntled Saudi citizens at the, they're seeing the rise, the oil prices have collapsed, which means that the fuel prices, for the first time in their history, they've been VAT tax has been applied in Saudi. So there is a lot of pressure on families, which is rippling up to government, and they are then responding, to kind of calm that down.
So what you're saying to me there is,
just one second, that the Saudi royal family is there not through a democratic elected process.
Yeah.
So they are constantly afraid of being overrun by the public.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Last time when we had the Arab Spring, and there was obviously the ripples had affected all those countries in the Middle East, as well as Saudi. And then the king, spent hundreds of billions of dollars in trying to create jobs. There was a huge investment package done to kind of alleviate those fears and bring the Saudi people. And I think this is the same process. I don't think there's anything new here. I think this is the same mechanism to try and placate the public and maintain your control as the royal family of that region.
I agree with you. I'll also say as well, I think it's up to 75% of the population is under 35.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's a very, very young society. In most parts, a lot of the highly educated society is not even in Saudi Arabia. It's dotted around the world.
Yes. Well, they're traveling a lot, aren't
yeah,
they?
that's right.
So all of them travel out. They see, they come to Europe, come to other countries, and they think, well, hang on a second, we've got all this oil, we've got all this money, we've got all this wealth, right? And yet these are freer societies, and we're not. So that's a huge impact on.
I agree with you, and I that was what I was going to say. There's a potential uprising, isn't there? And to see that off, you make what would seem to us like archaic institutions, right?
Yeah.
We'll do this because then it will happen, then it will calm them down. But really, a lot of people are saying these are just token gestures.
Yeah.
Because in the Saudi conservative society, the man is still in control of the house and the woman.
Yeah.
Right? So what you say is, go, you can do this, you can do that. So it's not on the ground, it's still not fast enough. But it is, to be fair to you,
it's an evolutionary process.
That's right, it's going to take time. It's not a revolution.
You can't change something overnight, something that's so ingrained. Don't forget that, less than 70 years ago, 80 years ago, these were nomads. As King Fahd famously said, we used to live in tents and walk in flip-flops, so we can always go back to living. So the point is that they were nomads, and the only reason they are where they are is because of oil, because of the cost of oil. That's right. So they've very quickly grown in wealth, and they're still grappling with the idea. They still have huge cultural and social pressures to harken back to those kind of nomadic times. So things will happen. Things will change over time, and all well and good to him if he's working that direction. But I just feel, I would be happier with him, with Mohammed bin Salman, in his efforts of what he's doing outside what's happened with Yemen and Qatar, which is unforgivable. What he's doing, if he didn't go around and start arresting all the liberals in the country. It doesn't make sense. You're trying to open society. You're trying to create a more democratic society with safeguarding freedoms and people's right to vote and protest and so on and so forth. And then on the other hand, you go and arrest all the people who have been advocating those ideas for years.
It just counters what you think was actually what's going on. What I will say though, before he was on the scene, none of what we're talking about right now was at the forefront, was it? You had the old guard still trying to run with the status quo. Perhaps, he feels, well, listen, I'm young and this is the changes I want to see. But it doesn't make sense what you're saying about the liberals. You are right, that just doesn't make any sense. I'm thinking if there was an older prince involved with a different surname, perhaps we might not be seeing any of this. It could just be literally, let's carry on with the proxy wars.
That's the point I'm trying to make, is that I don't think because of the demographic of Saudi society in terms of age, because of where it is and which time we're in, we've got social media, the traditional media channels through which you can indoctrinate and keep people in check are long gone. Now you got time of Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, so on and so forth, all these social media channels, this is a different time, and in this time if they want to hold on to their power and be the dynasty in Saudi Arabia, they have to do this. I agree with you. I don't think whoever it would, they would still have had to do this.
To that end, this prince has a not-for-profit organization called MISC, okay, which aims to empower youth to become active participants in Saudi Arabia's emerging knowledge economy. Now, if he wants his reforms to work, then this generation that spread, the wealthy, the educated generation, and the young ones, which Saudis under the age of 25 represent 51% of the population, all of these people need to work together.
Yeah.
This vision of what they want to happen, his 2030 vision, it includes these people who are not in Saudi Arabia at the moment, who are across Europe and America and so on and so forth. They've got these ideas of how they want to have their own fashion houses and how they want, not having to buy clothes in a moderate clothes and go home and then adjust them and do all these things, have their own way of living and bring that all back to Saudi Arabia. So his drive, when I was researching them as well, one of them is, okay, everybody's out there, they've done all their things, they've got their qualifications and they've got the ideas and they've got the creativity. I want them to bring them all back in here and have an environment where they can be free, Saudi free, right, and live in that sort of utopia. I know we're nowhere near it at the moment, but he's trying to start something.
I mean, you know what? If that's the way he's going, good on him.
Yeah.
But the process currently, what we see, unfortunately, it doesn't marry up with this vision.
That's right. It seems hypocritical in certain areas. It certainly feels imbalanced in quite a few other areas as well. And unfortunately for Mohammed bin Salman as well, is he will never be able to shrug off Yemen now. No matter what. No. He won't be able to shrug off Qatar. If the rest of it all goes as planned, so it's all positive, Yemen and Qatar will be 2 marks on his cards that will not go away.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, as far as I'm concerned, this is great. From my point of view, living in Britain and seeing what's happening in Saudi Arabia, I think it's great, okay? I think they need to have this, they need to have some reforms. And this is not, and I hasten to add, this is not religious forms that I'm talking about. It's just social forms and empowering people, especially women, not just the right to vote and work and all these sort of things, being included in society, having a voice.
Yeah.
That's really, really important.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And I think that's great, and it's obviously going to take time.
It's going to take time.
It's an evolution.
And I think we've said this before, haven't we? We last time when we spoke about Mohammed bin Salman, that if he wants reform and he's serious about reform, then good on him, yeah. And I think it's a long time coming, but the process that he's currently adopted to go down that road, and we don't know all the mechanics of that. We don't know what political strings he has to pull and people he has to keep in check and so on and so forth. But from what we do see as a layman's view of the world, it's not looking, it's not very, it doesn't marry, like I said, it doesn't marry up with that vision. And secondly, I think Corbyn is absolutely right that May and her cabinet are instrumental and colluding in the massacre of the Yemeni people, in this war crimes by selling Saudi Arabia arms as they have done, and just purely because Brexit is looming, we're burning our moral compass and our values that we've cherished for so long now
as leader of the world with humanitarian.
We wrote a lot of the human rights laws, international human rights laws,
right.
And we just completely thrown them to one side just because scraps at the king's table, as I said. Okay, well, Jazakallah khair, brothers and sisters, for listening. It's been a good show.
Alhamdulillah.
It's been a good show. Yeah, really
Hopefully
enjoyed it.
Listeners enjoyed it.
Yeah, I hope so too.
You say that to me.
Didn't get anyone involved in
I
that
love
conversation.
this guy.
But
He's back.
I am back. And I tell you what, look, I'm actually going to read out some of these things.
Here we go.
So
Drum roll, please.
I'm a changed man. Okay, inshallah. So we've got a couple of announcements to make just quickly. There's a talk tomorrow. Who is responsible for raising our children, by Yusuf Patel, who's the founder of SRE Islamic. So this is talking in particular for parents who are concerned how sex and relationship education is taught in schools, particularly primary school. So extremely important topic, you know, and it'll go through and talk about the parents' legal rights in this area of SRE, sex and religious education. And also, more importantly, it will provide an insight into the responsibility of Muslim parents to impart age-appropriate sex education in line with their values. And I think that's important. There's a problem. I think this kind of sex, we leave it to the schools. The schools do it whichever way they want to do it, and sometimes it's not appropriate for your child. And it ends up, you know, it kind of ends up becoming problematic. So great, go along to that. That's a free event, adults only. Lecture and question answer on Sunday, 11th of March. That's this Sunday between 2 and 4 p.m. at Masjid Khatija, 3 Lamcombe Road. You were going to say something?
Nothing. No, I'm just listening to your dulcet tones.
Okay, so next one is the Lantern Initiative presents Healing Minds. Now, this is great because this is talking about, you know, a lot of these taboo subjects, you know, understanding depression, anxiety and trauma, postnatal depression, maternal and mental health, cultural barriers, etc., etc., etc. There's a list of them. So this is not a free event. It's you have to book. It's £20 for early booking, 15th of March 2018, £25 after that period, and it's on Sunday the 8th of April between 2 and 6 or 4 hours at Orton Hall Hotel. So another great event. I think there's a list of speakers here who it's a ladies event focusing on mental health and well-being. I must point that out.
That's going to be great.
That's absolutely. I think they're extremely important events. Okay, just finally, Sadaqah Day on the 18th of March 2018. This is another great event. It's to help the community, you know, show gratitude and friendship and service to our community. And I'm out of time, so that is on Sunday 18th of March, 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Jazakallah, brothers and sisters, listening. Inshallah, see you again next
Salaam.
week.
Stay tuned to Salaam Radio after this short ad break.
Have you visited Amar Food Store yet? Now open at Lincoln Road Triangle, 613B Lincoln Road, Peterborough.